I mean, when you get the call for the Mae Young Classic, how did you feel about that? I mean, I ain't even done talking about AEW yet, but I just remembered that and I was like, sweet, she's back. That's awesome. I mean, did, like how was interest even conveyed? Did you reach out to them or did they reach out to you?
No, I think that I mean, they probably just had my file. I want it sounds so like corporate, but I did my tryout with them in 2015 and I got signed with Impact right after that.
Mhm.
And so while I was injured or sick, I don't know what you want to call it, but I was out from Impact. My contract expired during that time. This was January 2018 was my last taping with them. And then I couldn't wrestle for 6 to 8 months. I was on blood thinners. So during that time, my contract expired, and WWE happened to reach out and ask if I was available. And I was. And during that time, I know I talked about like with Impact, it was a contract expiration, and we are on good terms as far as I'm aware. One thing I don't think I've ever said in an interview was that I was trying to like pitch things to Impact while I was injured. You know, I was trying to pitch different ideas of what I could do even while I was injured. Um, but it just wasn't happening. Wasn't happening. And then the contract expired. I don't even know if they knew. I don't even know if they realized that my
Yeah.
contract had expired. And I was one of my friends that worked there mentioned like, oh, make sure you tell so and so. They might not even know. And I'm like, how do you not know? I don't know. I guess it is like having like
They
this
I mean,
crazy polyamorous relationship with like thousands of people.
there. I mean, yeah, there are people that are now in AEW that I know for a fact were supposed to get signed, and WWE forgot to sign them.
I mean, yeah, I guess if I had a that many relationships, I would need a spreadsheet or something, like some reminders in my phone. This is your anniversary, you know. So that's kind of what happened was, I mean, I was out of the picture too. Not so much on social media. I tried to stay as relevant as I could. But yeah, I think they might have just forgot that my contract expired. They weren't really biting on any of my ideas. They didn't seem to have any ideas for me. So when WB reached out, I was like, okay, you know, when
which
you feel like you're an option or a second choice or a not being appreciated when something else comes along, that's how life works.
which that was, man, I feel like we're jumping all over the page, but there's so much to
I
talk
know.
to you about. I mean, there's so much to talk to you about. Well, let me go back to that because I want to talk about the Mae Young Classic. When you were told that you're working with Mia Yim, did that like make you comfortable? Because that's somebody you'd worked with dozens of times, and if you're gonna be out of the ring for that long,
Mhm.
it's good to know that there's somebody you can have a match with in your sleep if you need to.
Oh, absolutely. I was like, this is why the Frenemy World Tour happened. It all was for this moment. It all culminated to this moment. You know, I've wrestled Mia literally all over the world. We wrestled in China,
Yeah.
and she broke my nose. Like we have so much history. Wrestled in Shine, and I was so relieved that I had her. Even though, of course, when you like, you know, I'm out the first round, I'm like, oh, but I was
Yeah.
also like, this is the way I want to go. You know, this is the way I want to go. And fun fact, Serena Deeb was our agent for that match.
Oh, really?
Yes. And I remember her telling us, like, thank you so much because I didn't have to do any work on this. Like, we pretty much, like, all right, we got it. Like, in 5 minutes, we had everything. We got it. Let's go.
So, you guys haven't wrestled each other since, have you?
No, we wouldn't have because she got signed
Wow.
after that.
Wow. So there were plenty of hurdles to even get you into that match after what you had been through.
Yes, actually, I totally forgot about that until right now. I almost didn't wrestle in the Mae Young Classic because I needed another clearance letter from my doctor saying that I was okay to wrestle. I feel like why would I know this? But at the same time, I should have known this. When I went in, you know, um, I knew we were going to get a physical. For some reason, I
Yes.
thought like, okay, I'm going to pass this physical and they're going to see I'm fine. No, of course, when I mentioned I had blood clots earlier this year, they're going to be like, we need further clearance. I didn't think about that because I'm just thinking like, yeah, whatever physical they give me, they're going to see that I'm
Of
fine. But if they
course.
don't have like CT scan, you know, there to like check and make sure your lungs are okay. So I had to message my doctor, and it was like a comical hurdle of events those next 2 or 3 days. So while all the other girls were allowed to get in the ring, try stuff out, do whatever they had to do, I wasn't allowed to get in the ring. I wasn't allowed to touch a weight. I wasn't allowed to do anything until I was medically cleared. So I just did promos and like hung out basically for the next few days because my doctor, for some reason, could not get that note to me until the very last minute. And they had like an issue back home in Michigan where like their power went out. They couldn't fax some. It was like, it was hilarious to me now. It wasn't hilarious then. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I got this far and now they're going to be like, sorry, you can't wrestle. So it was like down to the minute when I had one of the nurses at my doctor's office text me a picture of the letter because they were having issues with her power. It was so bizarre. But I remember it being down to the minute and they were like, all right, you're good. And I was like, so
Wow.
that being said, we never got to go over anything for our match either. Whatever we did out there, that was my first match back truly. Like there was no rehearsal for that. So like if I didn't have that experience and with Mia, I don't know what the hell would have happened.
Man, that is wild. That is a roller coaster. I mean, you were talking about your roller coaster AEW week. That
I
one,
know.
whew.